Hey everybody, welcome to the MD Power Hour, starring me, Ronnie P, and all the way from the United Kingdom, Giles Tiger Thomas, joining us from Tiger Towers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're here to talk about the Orlando Pro today. I want to let you guys know there's an amazing episode of MD Global Muscle. It's either going to be on before this or after this. I wish I could tell you which, but as I'm recording this, I'm not really sure. But tell us a little bit about this week's episode, Giles. It sounds really good.
Well, now I'm kind of really hot on the old TRT thing now. I'm feeling a bit back more to myself. I discovered what the issue was with the dodgy hard drive, so there's no more technical issues. The episode looks fantastic, sounds fantastic, and I feel like I got my mojo back. As soon as I was filming, I thought, yeah. And the two guests I had were Jason Lowe, who's in the show this weekend. I've not spoken to him for a couple of years, and it's one of those interviews where I kind of got lost because normally I keep a track of the time, and it's a sign of a good interview if you're like, I mean, we did nearly an hour, and it just flew by. We covered loads of topics, really good Wi-Fi connection, and he was really. I really felt really engaged with him. He's a very good guy to interview. Actually, I felt really comfortable. He was a really good back and forth. And also I was really this took a lot of doing, a lot of kind of sneaking around and trying to get to, but I got Laszlo Corrali, this new class. Well, he's not new, he's been around a couple of years, but he's been working with Patrick Tour now for the last I think just a year or so. And he's gone, I mean, you talk about it in the interview, he's gone physically and mentally to another level. And I know Steve has really got his eye on him. And Steve's got a very good eye for the guys that the breakthroughs. So I've got a feeling we've got somebody in the mix for if not top five, certainly top 10 for the Classic Olympia this year. And I got him literally, I think it was about 45-50 minutes after he'd been on stage. He was already back at the apartment. He was sat there with his top off, and I said, what's the matter, Lauren? She says, look at his shoulders. And I said, yeah, stripy delts.
Because it sounds like, oh, you guys, you're always saying everyone's going to be top five at the Olympia. No, in this case, I saw all the pictures, I saw a few videos on Instagram, and I think he's going to be right in the mix with Bumstead, Ramon, Urs, Ruffin. I think he's already at that level where I don't want to put anyone else down, but he's going to pass up a lot of guys that have been in the top 10 for a couple of years already. He's very good, Laszlo.
He's what the category was designed for. People like him and Bumstead and Ruffin, you look at him, and I mean, I love the way his lats pop out. The frontal bicep is his knockout shot, because there's one on his Instagram where he's just in his underwear, and he just does this frontal bicep, and it just, the way is like with Keon or Derek Lunsford, just the lats just kind of just come out at like 70-degree angle, and you're just like, holy shit. So straight away your eyes are drawn to his physique. But there's a really funny story at the start of the interview. You've got to watch it, because Patrick Tour was there, because obviously he lives in Rome. He's originally from Switzerland, but he lives in Rome with his wife, Sylvia. And he said that I shouldn't spoil it really, but he said that Patrick was going. He said Patrick is a very calm man, very calm man. He said, but I wasn't flexing my legs. And you know what some of these coaches get like? Like, I've been sat next to Neil Hill, and Neil Hill, if something's not going on right with one of his athletes, or they're not, doing something that they've practiced 1,000 times in their posing practice, like he said, Patrick, he was so angry. He said he went up to him and he says, if I had a gun, I would shoot you right now. And,
Oh my
and,
God.
and it was
That
just the passion from Patrick, because me and Patrick have been talking about Laszlo for a few weeks, because these progress videos he's been putting out have really been, got a lot of people talking, and about this guy's potential, about how much he's gone to another level. And it's he really talks. So I look at all these videos, and I was just like, and Patrick really loves his physique. I mean, he really thinks he's got what it takes to go right to the very top. And like I said, I haven't spoken to him for a couple of years, because I think I had him on in season 2 of Global.
wow.
But yeah, like, if you, it's not a massively long interview, but we cover quite a lot of ground in that in the time. And he talks about how, like, mentally he really took a switch to another gear this year. And I think the best is definitely yet to come from Hungary's Laszlo Karari.
The classic, like we said, every year there's
Mhm.
one or two new guys who are already vaulting up to that top level, because that's classic. That's why classic's exciting. We're seeing it with Open too. We're seeing a lot of breakout stars in Open, but classic's been that way from the start.
Who I would say last year it was Ramon and Urs, I think, that kind of jumped up in 2021.
Yeah.
But who do you think? Who do you think will be the ones that really jump up this year in Classic? I think Michael De Bull's going to jump up from 10th this year. I think he's going to do really well.
I'd
Um,
say De Bull is definitely someone. Sommerfeld has that potential. I'd like to see Wesley Vissers go. I've been waiting for Wesley Vissers to get up to the very top ranks of the Olympia. I
he
think
kind of is. He kind of
he
is,
is.
though.
Well, I mean, he's never been top six.
Yeah, true.
I mean, when you look at him, I know everyone on their own looks phenomenal, but he's got such an incredible physique. He's brought his legs up. Big fan of Wesley. Obviously, a lot of people are. But yeah, and I want to see Ruffin get back up there too because he's slipping.
Yeah, I didn't like seeing Ruffin how he looked at Olympia because Ruffin's probably he's one of my favorites in Classic. And when he's on and that pose and routine and the flow and the way he angles his body and he's a breathtaking physique really. But I think I tell you what really impressed me was from the M Pro Classic was German Pastor.
Oh yeah.
That was a really tough division, and for me, when I was watching the live stream, he really stood out. But the problem is with Classic, there's so many guys. There's so many good guys. Like we were at the Olympia last year, and there was guys in the best shape of their life that were on stage for like 4 minutes, because the 60 guys, only 10 guys can make top 10. So there's guys there that probably on another day, on any other day, would have been the champ or top 5, But it just shows you how unbelievably competitive the Classic is. I never thought Classic would get as big and as popular as it has so fast. I thought it had potential, but like this last couple of years, I feel like I do think actually some of the deaths in Open had something to do with it. I do. I think that was a big reason why it actually, unfortunately, sadly, it did help Classic, because guys thought, well, why should I blow up to 300 pounds in the off season when I can stay 220 and then just come on stage at 215 or something, and look and feel so much better.
I also think social media, the fact that social media is more of a young person's platform than it is older people they seem to have embraced the young guys, especially really embraced Classic, that division, and Bumstead and Ramon and Urs. Not as they don't follow the Open class as much, so they've really driven the popularity of the athletes of the contest, more so the athletes, where these guys have tremendous followings and people that watch all their YouTube videos and follow them every day on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But yeah, Classic. I didn't know how it was going to go over in 2016 when they introduced it. Like, no, I saw the shorts. I was like, no, these shorts are stupid.
Yeah.
Weight limits. I don't know about this division. I don't know. Because I thought, why do we need it? What do we need it for? We've always had classically shaped bodybuilders along with the big freaks. So why do we need another division just for guys with the aesthetics weren't as big? But turns out I was wrong.
If you went into even as a bodybuilding fan, I would personally rather have Chris Bumstead's physique than Hadi's physique. And that's me being a pure bodybuilding fan. And that's no disrespect to Hadi, because he's absolutely freaking awesome. But if you asked any girls what they would like their guy to look like, Chris Bumstead over Ramy or Hadi or Brand, any of them really. But so it shows you that it has appeal to. And the thing is, because the Classic guys are so good now, like sometimes like you and me, when the bikini or men's physique goes on, that's when we go to the toilet. That's when we go get some food. But like with Classic, I'm not moving. I'm as interested in Classic as I as Open or 212. For me, it's and also the crowd response. I mean, I was talking to Lauren last night, and do you remember when every time Bumstead did that twisting bicep shot, I was like, I turned around and everyone was just going completely berserk. And I was just like, that's what we want to hear. That's, that tells you everything. The crowd response when Chris Bumstead hits those 1 or 2 magic poses, like it's just, it's amazing.
I haven't seen it happen since, but last year, the only Boston Pro that's happened so far, Classic came on last after Open, after Bonac won. Yes, after Bonac, the very last division to come on for the Pose Down Awards was Classic. So me and Jose were like, that's interesting. Never saw the Open not be the finale of any big event, because that's what everything culminates in, is the Open bodybuilding. But at the Boston Pro, I haven't seen it ever done since then, but that was interesting.
but then still you don't see many classic pros doing guest posings. Bumstead now, when he goes to events, he just appears.
Yeah.
He just appears, and that seems to draw people, as many people as like an off-season open top 5 Olympia guy guest posing. So that shows you that it's not just about the physique. I think I mean, we could talk about Bumstead all day long, but I think the reason people like him so much is because he's so authentic. I don't get any, like, I read his posts and, I don't get any sort of manufactured or fake vibes for him at all. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's so popular. People can relate to him, because he's kind of like a normal guy in some ways of terming it.
We do the interviews the night before at the Meet the Olympians, and we've never been able to get Bumstead. It's just, no, you're not getting near Bumstead. It's like he's like a rock star. There's a line wrapped all the way around the building, like hundreds and hundreds of guys waiting to meet Chris and take a picture with him. And yeah, so that tells you something. But let's get into Orlando. We have another pro show coming up this Saturday in Orlando, Florida. It's an Ed and Betty Pariso production. It's happening Saturday. It's the only pro division. It's being held along with an NPC show, National Qualifier. So I haven't seen the info for a webcast yet. Webcast, how old am I? Live stream, usafitgames.com. That's where the info should appear. 8:30 a.m. The NPC show start. I said a.m. or p.m. It's 8:30 a.m. It starts Saturday. They're going to run through all the NPC divisions and then go to the men's open pro bodybuilding. Same thing at 5 o'clock. They'll go through the NPC. So it'll be a quick one. But this is a great chance for Hassan Mustafa, who just missed Olympia qualification a couple weeks ago in Toronto, being edged out by Ian Valliere. He is the defending. He won this last year. He won the Puerto Rico Pro last year. Looking at this lineup, he's got an excellent chance of winning it this year, locking up his qualification on the 1st of July, and then he'll have a good, I don't know, few weeks before he has to start knuckling down for the Olympia. But Hassan, you watched the stream from Toronto. I didn't see it as tremendously close, just because I think Hassan really, the one thing I want him to do is just keep that midsection sucked in at all times, because when it comes out, it looks big. It's everybody has most guys have a gut if they relax it. It's all a matter of midsection control and breathing when you're on stage, because he's so thick. He's got so much muscle mass. The smaller we can get that midsection or make it appear smaller, the more impressive everything else is going to be.
I think the thing with Hassan is, who was he working with? Because he's gone so many coaches now. Who's he working with? Who's he gone
now?
from?
He's with Chad Nichols now. He was with AJ Sims Cement Factory before that, and he was with Chris Aceto before that.
Yeah, I didn't know what order it was, but I remember one time when Chris Aceto brought him in, like almost like uncarbed, and I think that actually was somebody like Hassan, who is so full and so big. He's one of those guys that can afford to come in a little bit flat, because it really, really streamlines the waist. We know Chad Nichols likes his guys to be really big and full, and I've spoke to Ronnie many times, and Chad's a big food guy. And I think I'm going to make a guess that if they've really assessed what happened at Toronto, because Toronto, muscular wise, that was probably the best Hassan I've seen. I mean, he was full to bursting, but I don't think that necessarily works that well with him, because unfortunately what he gains in that fullness in the muscle, he kind of loses it in the waist, and it kind of spoils the picture. It spoils the X-frame. So what I would like to see Chad do, and I've got a feeling Chad will do this, I think they're maybe going to go a little bit easier on the carb up, because what he loses in the, in the fullness of the muscle, he kind of gains in the streamlining of the waist. Because, I mean, I actually had Hassan winning the Toronto. Yeah, I did. I had him winning that one, because like when I actually went by it through post by post, like side chest, riddable bicep, you can't see the waist in those particular poses. Like his riddable bicep, his rear lat spread, he looks fantastic. It's just those front shots, the frontal bicep, the front lat spread, and the ab and thigh, where his waist just looks. So, but if he comes in a little bit flatter in the waist, until his stomach is a lot more empty, I really hope Chad does this. I think then we'll see a better version of Hassan, because really there's no, I'll be honest, there's no one to really challenge him in this show. If he comes in even 90% of how he looked at Toronto, So I just hope Chad decides to go, rather than trying to bring him in as freaky as possible. We saw that at Toronto, and it didn't necessarily, it kind of did, and it didn't work, didn't it?
No, I mean it didn't. I mean that he's got he's only won 2 pro shows his whole career. It was last year when he was working with AJ, and he was flatter, he was smaller, but he's got so much muscle he can afford to do that. And like you said, it actually enhanced his physique. It made him look better. He'd been full to bursting many other shows before that, and he was like a lot of third places, a lot of fourth places, a couple second places. You could argue maybe the lineup wasn't as tough at the shows he won or whatever, but still, that's a better look for him. And Chad's no dummy. I hope Chad really analyzes the different looks that Hassan's brought and brings that look, because yeah, maybe the same exact look that he brought to Toronto was good enough to win this anyway. But it'd be great just to see him step it up a notch and give us a little taste of what he could present at the Olympia, because we've been talking about this guy since, what was it, 2018 we first saw him in Tampa?
Yeah, years ago. And then he, like I said, at one point, I was almost like I was with Ramy in like 2018, 20. I was almost ready to give up on him because I thought this guy's just not going to be able to do it. And then they started getting the formula of his conditioning right. And then I forget the actual show, because he did 8 shows one year, didn't he, in 2021? He did 8 shows. But thing is, it's like, I've spoken to Nathan D'Asher about this. When the guys like Nathan or Hassan with the real ridiculous, bubbly, full round muscle, they can, if they're doing multiple shows, they can, with their coach, try different approaches. Like I want to hear Hassan's stomach rumbling on stage, because I want to see that stomach completely empty. I really hope Chad does this, because we know he's freaky, we know he's big, but I would like to see them try something different for this one. And I think it's going to hurt, to be able to, to really kind of hold back. And he's probably going to be not feeling mentally great on stage, but I've got a feeling he'll look a lot better for it. Because, like, imagine him, like, that was a great thing about Lee Priest's physique. He had that kind of like Hassan, the full muscle, the muscle bellies, like the biceps that like start halfway up the bloody forearm, and everything just looks ridiculous. But when he lifted up his arms, his waist just went to nothing. And if Lee Priest didn't have a tiny little waist back then, it would have looked like kind of Hassan, But I think because Hassan's still pretty young, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe 32, something like that. He's not 33. He's still early 30s. I know that.
He's been around a while, So I think I really hope Chad really decides to focus on what he needs to do to bring that waist in, even if it means, because he's one of those guys where even if he just comes in flat and a bit depleted, he's still going to be the biggest up there. So it's not like we have to prove that he's the biggest and the freakiest, and no readable bicep and the side chest looks like he's about to explode, because it's when he turns to the front, that's where, because we want to see him win, but we want to see him win looking like how we're going to expect to see him at the Olympia, because that's the whole point of him qualifying. So I really, like I said, I really hope that Chad goes against his normal protocols of really force feeding them as much as possible to get them as full as possible. I remember Ronnie telling me in the car when we were driving to Body Power, and he said, I said, what did Chad do? What was it? He said, the main thing was the food. He said sometimes I'd be literally in pain, and Chad would be trying to force feed, and obviously what they do with the insulin and stuff to carb up to force even more food. I hope they do the complete opposite for this show, because I would like to see a different look. I'd like to see him turn up to the registration and to look like, what's happened? Where's he gone? Is he dropping down to 212? He looks so small. And then you get up on stage, and then and he just gets a good good pump backstage, get some sugars in and whatever, and then boom. But that is when he lifts those arms up. I want to see that waist, because he's done it before and he can do it again.
Well, let's move on to one of the elder statesmen in the show. Big favorite of MD Global Muscle. You've had him on many times. I love talking to him and his wife Patty. Phil Clahar, the Jamaican tank, from Land O'Lakes, Florida, originally from Jamaica, obviously. So he was, let's see, his 2022 year, he took 5th at the Tampa last year, 6th in the Boston Pro Show. 2021, he had that 3rd place in Texas. He was runner-up to Ian Valier in Tampa. And he's currently preparing for the Masters Olympia in Romania, where Giles will be the live stream commentator, everybody. For you,
Lauren.
And Lauren Lauder. And Jay Cutler. Hey, it's some guy named Jay Cutler. And Linda Murray, you got a couple guest stars in there. That's good.
Yeah.
This is one live stream I'm actually going to be looking for. I don't look forward to a lot of them, because most of them don't have any commentary or anything, and some of them are just lame as hell. It's just like one static shot of the stage. But I know the Wings of Strength people. They put some nice pay-per-views together, and I mean, look at this. Look at this. Just the commentator all stars they have for this. So, but Phil Clahar, man, I think he's about 48 or 49 now. He's
We don't focus on his age.
We don't focus on his age. He looks, black don't crack. Looks like a young guy. He looks younger than me, but massive. He's about 250, 260 pounds on stage. Just massive shoulders, legs, big, thick guy with really good shape. Yeah, I mean, he's the only one on the list I really see giving Hassan Mustafa a real problem if Hassan is off or something and Phil's on.
Because even a few days ago, somebody said, I forget, was it on the group chat? Somebody said, "Oh, Phil should do this." Or why isn't he doing it? Because it's
It was Mike Cox. I think Mike said it.
Yeah, and then Mike, and then when it was like, so I'm hoping this isn't a last minute decision. Because if he's trying to get ready for the Masters Olympias, what it's like 8-9 weeks.
Well, August, yeah, it's not that close. You're right.
But hang on, what was the main show that Phil was getting ready for? Is it Texas?
I think Texas, so that's August. I can't remember which is first, but I think the Olympia's at the end of August, I believe, the Masters. But yeah, I know he was going back to Texas because he had done well there a couple times.
So I'm hoping that he planned to do this show a good few weeks ago, and it isn't like, oh, he's heard the lineup's not that strong and he wants to jump in anyway. So I hope he comes in at his best. Basically, what I'm trying to say. So yeah, Phil's probably Hassan's main competition. But I hope we don't just see a version of Phil that looks like it's 6 weeks out from the Masters Olympia and he just decided to jump in for the hell of it. Otherwise, I want to see him looking pretty decent here. Do you know what I mean? So, like I said,
the Phil that took third at that Texas Pro to Kuklo and who else and Ian, and then he took second. That's the best Phil I've ever seen. Was two summers ago. If he can come close to that look, I still think Hassan's got the edge. He's an amazing bodybuilder, but Phil's going to give him. He's going to give him some trouble. He's going to push him.
Yeah, I like Phil's physique, and I like the fact I love his back shots. For a tall guy, he's got very, very good legs. I feel like certainly for guys like like that Darren Charles who are coming back, and the fact that this Masters Olympia is coming back, I think will give guys like Phil Clahar more of a confident. How can I explain it? They're more because they know that's the category that they're going to shine more in than the Open. And Phil Clahar's a very good Open pro. This is a top 3, top 6 guy, in all the pro shows he pretty much does. So I hope that he's kind of riding off some good energy for this, and we see him kind of, at least even close to how because for me, the Texas was that 2021. I mean, that top 3, him, Steve Kuklo, and Ian Valliere. I mean, that could have gone in any way. I mean, all 3 absolutely nailed it at a fantastic show. They all had, different sorts of physiques. So I kind of hope we see that, because I still think that the best is yet to come from Phil. And I've got a feeling we will see it at the Masters Olympia, actually. I think he's a bit of a dark horse for even for the win for that. So I'm hoping that this renewed vigor, knowing that he's got a show that he's going to be more competitive and it's got the Olympia title, attached to it. I'm hoping that will, I hope that he's ahead of schedules, basically what I'm trying to say. And that we see him kind of looking his best ever at this show and not like a 6 weeks out version, basically what I'm trying to say.
Right on. So next up, let's talk about Stanimo, Stan de Longu. Haven't seen him in a minute. He was 4th place at the Legion last year, 7th place at the 2021 Legion. It was won by Sean Clarita. Stan is that guy who was men's physique pro. Then he went to classic physique, got bigger and bigger, and now he's a very big Open pro. I don't know what he weighs, but he's big and thick as hell. He's probably like 260 on stage, something like that.
He's one of those guys that certainly looks it.
Yeah, very thick, very thick.
But it's funny. I was doing hot news for Global yesterday, and I was scrolling down one of the accounts I look for news and stuff, and I went, "Oh shit!" I said, "Oh, Stan, I completely forgot about him."
Yeah.
And I think the first thing I said, "Can you believe that this guy was men's physique?" Because when you see some of the physiques, you just think, he must have always been huge. He must have always been like a real. You just think I can't physically visualize him in board shorts any smaller, because he looks like he was born to do the Open, because he's physically, it's not just his chest is huge, it's everything. It's like everything like the actual frame size of him. You just think, I can't even imagine this guy's men's physique. That's how good he looks as an open.
It's been a while. I don't think he's done men's physique for almost 10 years now. It's been a while. But
I
yeah, I
rate
see what
him.
you're saying.
I do rate him.
Yeah, he's good. But next guy you just talked to at length for MD Global Muscle, IFBB Broku. Jason Lowe also started as classic physique. Is that right? Yeah. So let me give you the
Well,
progression. He won a classic show back in 2018, the San Antonio Pro. This year he was just sixth in Toronto. He was actually, I thought he had made his open debut this year. I was completely wrong. It was actually this show last year. He took 10th place at the Orlando Pro in the open bodybuilding. I confirmed it because I said, I don't remember him doing
really?
open. He did, yeah.
Well, he said differently to me in the interview.
Oh, well, I was looking at the score sheets. But 2021 Tampa, he was a 212. He was a 212 for a couple years. He was actually second in New York Pro as a 212. 2020 Olympia, he was 11th place in the 212. No, what did he say to you about? Did he say that his open debut was this year?
Yeah, he left that detail out there. That's a bit. I don't know what. I'll have to go and watch it again because I'm editing it now. See, I'm going to upload it. So I'll go through because I'm pretty sure he said that was. I don't know whether he actually used the words open debut, but that's how I've retained that information. But do you remember when he was? I remember the pictures you took from when he was second to Dektrick at the 2021 New York Pro. I remember because I love his side shots. I think because he's got those nice developed intercostals, his side tricep and his side chest. I thought he had Dektrick on those. But he said he's been working really, really hard on bringing his back up. He does 2 back sessions a week now.
Wow.
And he sent me a picture yesterday. And because obviously he's more conditioned, everything's popping more. It was one of his garage shots. And he hasn't posted it yet. And I went, holy shit. I said, look at your rear lat spread. I said, you've got no gaps. When there's like Dorian Yates, when he did the front lat spread, there was no gap between his forearm and his lats from the front. He's really, really hardened up. He reckons he's going to be about a couple of pounds lighter than he was in Toronto. Do you know what he weighs?
I'm going to go 216, 218.
Oh, yeah, 218.
Is that about right? Yeah.
Because
Okay,
I thought, look at the pictures, and I think he looks like a 230s guy. He's big.
Can't really read this, but I just want to make sure I'm not on crack. I'm not on crack, guys. But yeah, last year's Orlando, it says Hassan was winner, Andrea Presti, Phil Clahar, Max Charles, Tonio Burton, Jonas Giatras, Rashid Oldiker, Matt Kuba in 8th, Martin Hernandez in 9th, and Jason Lowe in 10th.
Wow. Okay.
So
okay. It's funny. Like I was that interview that we lost Stu Sutherland's Beef Stew.
Yeah.
Like we forget. Like I know. Thing is, I still don't consider that to be a pro debut when it's 1 week after you've turned pro. Right, when you had COVID and everything. Like I think a pro debut is when you've done a proper off season and it's and you're prepping particularly for that. I think you can. In my mind, I know it's not technically legally right, but I still consider that to be the kind of the pro debut. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, that Stu, I didn't even notice Beef Stew last year at that show. Honestly, I was like, who's this guy? I had to look at the score sheet and like who, because I don't follow the amateur scene like I used to. He had just won the USA.
Yep.
And I was like, who is this guy? Where did he turn pro? It said he's from the USA. I never heard of him, but there he was. And he didn't look awful, but he hadn't planned on that. Like you said, he just jumped in like, oh, might as well. And this season worked out much, much better for him. So Jason Lowe, tremendous improvements. He's so much thicker than he was just a couple years ago. I'm surprised because I wonder what he was as a 212. I wonder how much lighter he was.
Well, I'm guessing he'd be one of those. I think maybe the reason he switched was because he was struggling to make 212. But because he said at Toronto, he says the way I was coming in.
Froze on me. Giles, you're frozen. I'm gonna keep
talking. He says I was only about 218, and I went, "Whoa, holy shit!" I said, "You look like a 230s guy because you do look so much bigger than from when you were a 212." So I said to him, I said, "That's a real achievement." I said not just to make top 6 in your first open show when you've come over fresh from another division, but to look like I already see him now as an open guy. I don't think, oh, there's that. I don't recognize him as that guy that used to be a good 212 and he's now slowly working his way up. He's like kind of like Bonac was. He's made an impact straight away, and I think he definitely looks better as an open now. He does. He just looks better. And I said, and also, I said, the main thing is, I says, you've put, because it looked to me like he'd put a lot of size on, not just 6-7 pounds, which also is plus, and his physique is more, everything's popping more and everything's more detailed and everything just, I said, but you've managed to keep the waist small. I said, because the guys who go from 212 into the open straight away that do well, that kind of, that put a load of size on, usually they lose something. And also, if you noticed, as an open, he's got sweep on his legs now.
Yeah. His legs are way better now. Yeah.
Because he said, because I said to him yesterday, I said, I said, it's funny when guys are having to cut to make weight like a classic or a 212, sod's law, it always comes off the body part that is your hardest. That last minute it'll come off like Kamal when he drops down to 212, he loses fullness in his chest, his delts, the sweep on his quads goes, but then they jump, they don't restrict themselves and they don't pull themselves down as hard and deplete as much, and they manage to retain those certain body parts that it's kind of their worst body part anyway, the one they can't afford to lose stuff on. So Jason definitely made the right move by doing this, and I'll be honest, I'm kind of rooting for a top 3 for him, not just because I had him on Global.
No, I like him a lot. It's some
Good interview as well. Good interview.
Sometimes we're a little biased towards the nicer guys who are cooperative and easy to work with, and they happen to have great physiques too. So why not root for them?
Yeah. I always, even the people on my GFY list, I always still root for them.
GFY is what? Get F. What is it? Get F. Go F yourself. Okay. took me a minute, but I'm slow, but I got it. So Matt Kuba is
talking about it for 5 years.
I'm stealing that. I've never heard that before.
No, there's 2 lists. There's an amber and then there's a red. The amber is basically their next step depends on whether they stay on that list or they go onto the red or they come off and they're fine and their probation is over. And the red list, that's pretty much, that's you for life.
Wow, rough. You don't want to get on that list, guys. Come on now. So next guy on the list I want to talk about real briefly, Matt Kuba. Matt's been very consistent. I've seen him at a bunch of shows. He's typically a second call-out guy, but he's always in shape, usually somewhere around the 7th to 10th place. I've seen him in that place range many, many times. 2020 Tampa, he was 9th. Last year at this show, he was 8th. It's just a workhorse, very, very consistent, comes in shape every time. That's one thing I respect is when someone always brings the condition at every show, and he always does. Chris DiDomenico, he was actually the national champion the last time I went to the NPC Nationals, which was almost 6 years ago now, 2017. He was a super heavyweight an overall winner. I've seen him a couple times as a pro. He hasn't really made an impact yet. Works hard. I see his training clips all the time. Very, very strong, very intense trainer. So I'm rooting for Chris. And last but not least, guy I want to talk to is a former medical doctor, only 27 years old, from the Middle Eastern nation of Jordan, Mohammed Ansur. He actually was he won the Monsters In Pro show last year in Korea, got his ticket to the Olympia. I'm not sure he was in the Olympia. It's hard to tell because there were so many damn guys in the Olympia.
Oh, I know this guy. I know this guy.
Well, did you go to the Big Man Weekend show last year? Were you there?
Not last year, but we went the year before.
Yeah, he was 4th at that last year. So last year was a really good year for him. He's only 27 years old. Very thick guy. Condition is granite hard. He comes really dry. Massive, massive arms, legs. Only knock on him that I have is the structure. He's a little bit straight up and down. He doesn't have that tremendous X frame, but he does sort of compensate it with the muscularity. Very, very dense condition muscularity, Mohammed.
Do you think he could tweak his posing to hide that structural issue?
Yeah, I mean, when someone's got, if you have a straight up and down torso, you want to do more twisting things to try to create the illusion of a smaller waist. And yeah, I haven't seen that yet. But then again, I'm only looking at still photos for the most part with Mohammed. Maybe he has tweaked that. I hope so, because you can really do a lot with posing. Great posing can detract from a good amount of anybody's flaws if they really know what they're doing. And you can force people to focus on your strong points and really sort of pull the curtain away so they can't see the bad. You
remember? Have you ever seen comparisons of when Lee Labrada at his best used to do a front on double bicep, like straight on, like how they normally, and then when he would do it his way with almost like the classic guys do pose now, you know.
Yeah.
Like it made all the difference to his physique. That's why I think some of the open guys could really take a leaf out of some of the classic guys, because these classic guys, you know, because they're not the biggest, and everyone's kind of at the weight cap, so everyone's in the similar condition and size and symmetry. And I think it's these little tweaks on posing that can really, you know, separate first from second and second from third and so on. So yeah, I'd be interested. Yeah, I like this guy actually. He's a good physique, but I am surprised there's not more. Like, why didn't Vlad do this one? Because Vlad's in condition. Vlad should have jumped in this. I mean, he's still not announcing what he's doing. So some of these guys, I just think maybe they need to pay closer attention and be more willing to jump into a show. You know,
I'm gonna guess Vlad's show right now. I bet he's doing the Mr. Big Evolution show in Portugal on July 9th. I bet that's the show.
Promoter contacted me yesterday. He sent me a video to promote, and João Henrique. So yeah, of course Portugal, because he does Portugal every year, doesn't he, Vlad?
He's done it a couple times, and then, you know, if for any reason doesn't win that, you got another Alicante, Spain show on the 30th of the month.
True. But I spoke to Nathan D'Asher. I've been speaking to him quite regularly recently, and I said, "What shows are you doing next?" And he said, "Because he's just got back from Ibiza partying." He's crazy. He'll do like 9 weeks out, and he still managed to put it all together. He said Spain or Italy.
Okay.
So, because I'm really looking for, because I thought when he said Italy, I thought he was going to be jumping in the same one as Crizzo. So I got super excited about the idea of seeing Nathan D'Asher next to Crizzo, because I think that would have been really interesting. But then I looked on his Instagram and I was thinking, he ain't even started dieting yet. He's still fucking huge, you know? So
what is he prepped for like 6 weeks, Nathan?
Oh, he said 8 weeks is like 8 weeks for the Olympia maximum, you know, or the Arnold or whatever. So even though, but he's I don't know. He's one of these guys who just gets in shape quick, and he says, "Yeah, I'm cutting my kebabs out this week."
Kebabs. I mean, that's not the worst thing you could be eating. I mean, donuts or pizza would probably be. I wouldn't have been surprised if he said that, because I know he's one of those guys that changes like that when he really locks it down.
Real, like he really. I mean, he's a workhorse, Nathan. But when he really applies it, like his mind just switches into, like, you know, killer mode, and he just looks incredible in the space of weeks. And he's always on. I mean, Nathan's never off, you know, so he's not one of those guys. But I just hope, I'm excited to see him come back anyway, because obviously, you know, last year, 2021, he was like the number one in the UK, and now like Samson, and then he tore both his biceps, and you know, I'm rooting for him, because I know that psychologically he's got a lot of ground to maybe make up in his own mind, you know. Plus, I do think he'll get the 10 wins this year, because he's got 9 pro wins at the moment, so he's looking to get that 10. I think that 4th at Prague really knocked him.
Yeah,
because he won Arnold UK, the Italy show, he won Spain, so he won 3 shows in a row. And then he went to the EVLS Prague, and I was messaging him after judging. I said, "Oh, you've got that, mate?" And he went, "No." He says, "They've got me 4th." He says that they kept putting me on the outside. I said, "Mate, I forget what I betted him." But I said, "There's absolutely no way on God's green earth you are going to place 4th." And then he placed 4th. So, wow. And I think it really, you know, to go from 1st to all these guys you've been beating, you know, fairly easily, to then be knocked down to 4th and be looking good. I mean, and then tearing his biceps. It's like, I think I'm really rooting for him, because I think he's, you know, he's got a lot of, you know, grounded, like I said, to make up. So really excited to see him come back.
Cool. All right, so guys, Saturday we'll be doing some coverage. Are you going to join me for the judging part? The nighttime's way too late for you.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll be doing a recap after the judging. And after the finals, probably just be me, because it's going to be like 3 a.m. for poor Giles here, and I don't want. You need your rest, man. We gotta have you nice and chipper and full tigers, because Sunday's the big. Sunday's the day Giles typically records all his global interviews, and he's got to be 100% for those, because yeah, we love Global Muscle.
Hang on, we did a full global yesterday, and then we knocked out 3 episodes of Buff Bombshell, and 2 of the episodes we had a studio guest that had driven over. So we did that in the morning. We had a break and a quick nap, reset the cameras, and, you know, change them all. And then we did a full global, and it was just, at the end of the day, I have a glass of red wine. I was like, that was a really, really good day. You know, when you've got some really good content in the bag. It's such a great feeling.
Yeah, that's On the Rise Media Productions. Is that the parent company? Yeah, Tiger Towers there. Yeah, guys are killing
Tiger Towers, even if it's 1 floor.
How many was Faulty Towers actually a building? It was a TV show.
Yeah,
Bad.
TV show. It was like a hotel, wasn't it?
Yeah, John Cleese from Monty Python, Holy Grail, or Monty
Yeah.
Python, the Holy
Do
Grail,
you know? Do
Monty
you know they
Python's
only
funny
made
show.
10 episodes of that?
No, I didn't. Really? There was only
10
one season?
episodes. That
Wow.
classic. That's all they made was 10 episodes.
Wow. I assumed it had gone on for years and years. Dopey
Weird,
I
isn't
am.
it?
I never saw it. So anyway, guys, join us on Saturday for that. Wednesday, I don't know if you're watching this before or after, but if it's haven't seen it yet, check out Global MD Global Muscle Wednesday at 9:15, every Wednesday at 9:15 a.m. Eastern that comes out. So you might have to go back to this channel and watch it. We have all kinds of great content. Subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up, share it on your social media platform so more people can enjoy it. And of course, there's a notification bell. You have to click on that so you know when we have videos, and you have to click on your phone with the new issue. Oh, DLB. Yeah.
Lauren had it in the studio and she was filming on Buff, and she says, "Oh, this is an old issue, guys, and check out this. Check out." I said, "No, no, no." I said, "Whoa, whoa!" I jumped on the mic and I said, "No, this is the new one." She says, "It's obviously, being a woman, she's very excited that we had another female on the front cover." But I explained afterwards. I said, "No, I said the last time that DLB was on the front cover was only a couple of years ago. It was was it the highest selling issue of the year?
It was more than a couple of years ago. It was a few years
Oh, was
ago.
it?
Yeah,
I've got it. I've got my
that
pen
was the
ready.
one where she had the chain around her, I think. She had a big chain around her shoulder. She was holding it like that. Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it
well,
great though that we can, like, she's been retired since what, 2013,
24,
and she's
2014. Yeah.
24. Oh yeah, she got second to Malakan, and
Mhm.
she's still popular enough just to get a front cover.
Well, I mean, and she just got a big contract with Redcon. She still has millions and millions of followers. I mean, she's one of those people. She doesn't need to compete. She's an icon. Like I said, Bump said his lines around. Anytime I was ever at an event with Dana, the lines for it was mostly young girls that want to meet her. The lines were like a mile long. These girls would wait hours and hours to they'd come up and they'd be crying because they couldn't believe they were in front of her.
Yeah.
It was really emotional. They all said, you saved me from this or that. She's really an inspiration to millions and millions of young women around the world, Dana.
Well, the only time I properly ever met her, first time, was when 2019, when Phil wanted me and AJ to come over and say hi at Body Power. And AJ was like, "Giles," he said, "Phil wants to see us." And I said, "Well, does he really want to see it? Did he actually say that?" I said, "Because I don't want to drive all the way to Body Power and he just gives us a wave and then we have to drive all the way back. It's like a 4-hour drive, mate." And he went, "No," he said, "he really wants to see us and spend some time with us." See, that was where the idea for the tour came about, because we got chatting about it, face to face.
Yeah.
So we drove down to Body Power, and Phil says, "Hey guys, so he says, come with me to the green room, where they have all the food and drinks and stuff." So we went through with Phil, and that's where, and Dana was there with what's the husband name? Rob.
Rob, yeah.
Yeah, and I met them, and I just thought, what lovely people, because I'd never really, I couldn't really formulate an opinion because I'd never really spoke to them before, and I didn't really follow, that division back then. So, and then Phil said, right, he says, "Me and DLB are going to do a seminar together." He says, basically said to me and AJ, said, come with us. So we're like, yeah, okay then. And obviously we're chatting to DLB on the way, and I watched them do the seminar, and I think we all went to the gym afterwards as well. And yeah, really, really nice lady, really, really down to earth, and quite, sort of. Rob's cool as well. He was sat behind us when we were watching the seminar, but yeah, really, really lovely people.
Yeah, and Dana, I've seen her train probably about 7 or 8 times over the years, and she trains so hard, so hard. Oh, I mean, people could say, "Oh, she's a genetic freak," or "She's this," or "She's that," but let me tell you, like I've seen her do sets of side laterals that the set would take like 10 minutes. It'd be
Wow.
like keep going and going and going, and it's one of those people you think there's no way she's doing any more reps, and she somehow does more reps, and she out trains most of the guys that I've seen her train with, and these are pros I'm talking about. Yeah.
I heard a rumor that she was going to come back to figure.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know.
I
don't
think
know
if though, she always struggled to get like real dry condition in her legs, because I believe she's unassisted,
right.
and I think with the way that figure has gone, I would imagine she would struggle in that division. I mean, does she even have to win or do well to sort of? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. All the divisions have gotten bigger. Figure women are bigger than women's physique women were way back then when she was the champ. They're much bigger.
Harder
Yeah.
as well.
So when people say, "Oh, Dana's on gear," and this, and I said, "She's so tiny compared to these other women. You have no idea. If you put her next to these other women, it would make more sense to you. You wouldn't be
Yeah.
so quick to accuse her because you'd see she's not big. She's a petite. You know, she's got the little round caps and everything, but she's like 5'5", 135 pounds. She's not a big woman at all. Very petite.
I feel like she was one of the ones that probably got the most out of that Olympia title.
Oh yeah,
You know, when like say some athletes I speak to and they like and they very much focus on what the prize money is or what they're going to get out of it, that they're right there and right then. She's someone that got that title like Brandon Curry did when he won the Olympia and he got the carbon culture and he got the supplement brand and he had all these, like they really jumped on it to create, they used the title to get to network and get as many opportunities as they could, which they then exploited to the max, which is the real smart way to do it. And I think like DLB, really, she didn't have to really completely smash her body up for years and keeping her body fat levels down to sort of dangerous levels. And she's someone that got in, got out, you know, won the title, and she just utilized it to the max. And I think there's a real, I think that's something I feel like she could really, you know, get the message across. I'd like to see her maybe mentor or, you know, or I think even just leading by the example she leads by. You know what she does, I think, is impressive. So yeah, she's him and her are very, very smart people, and they've really done well. It's good to see.
yeah. I mean, I remember when they were selling their clothing line out of the back of a van,
Yeah,
going around, driving around to different gyms.
the
And
grafters, they're hard workers.
oh, 100%. They drove around the whole east, up and down the eastern seaboard once. It was like a spring and a summer, just going to
Yeah.
different gyms, meeting people to train and selling their clothing when it was just literally out of the back of a van. And look at them now. Yeah.
You can't root against people like that who've got that entrepreneurial get off their ass, not sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring because I've won a show and I'm entitled to everything now and I'm the best. It's like I like the fact that people like that get out there and they're driving to people and working that hard. I think that's like those few years of graft and effort have really set those two up for life now, and it's created so many other opportunities. Like I don't even really follow them, but I'm kind of pretty much aware of all the different, you know, some of the different things they're doing. And I think some of these other athletes could maybe take a leaf out of their book of it's not just about winning the odd show and working your way up and making prize money and getting contracts, but actually creating businesses and real revenue streams that will, you know, literally set you up for life and turn you into a brand.
100%. We love it. We love the Baileys. Amazing people. I've always had so much respect for them because they've worked so hard for everything they have. Nothing was handed to them. They hustled and grinded and made it happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
here's the lesson we can learn, you know. Also, Ron, a TRT thing's going really well.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
We're gonna do an episode, an upcoming Power Hour about your TRT, about TRT in general, with the gentleman from Balance My Hormones over there in the UK.
Yeah, and I'm referring repeat quite a lot of people to him.
Nice, nice.
Because
I
mate,
mean,
a couple of weeks ago, I was really I was all over the place. You know, my estrogen levels were high and my natural test was low. And already, I don't know whether I think even in the first week, maybe it was like a placebo effect, but I already started to feel myself feeling more like myself. But we'll go into it properly in a few more weeks when I've got the second blood test results. And I want to go right through it. I'll be fully transparent because I really want to help. Like I've been talking to a friend of mine, and it sounds like he's been having problems because he had a really bad COVID a couple of years ago, and he's not been the same since. This is a really good bodybuilder, and I've been following his kind of symptoms the last couple of years. And I said to him, I said, mate, I said, honestly, it sounds like you need to get some blood work done by these people because they will identify. He was like telling me, oh, I've not been telling me all the problems he's been having. And I said, mate, get yourself sorted with these people. I said, because guys our age, you know, over 30,
a little bit.
you know, I said, really, you know, I said, we are, you know, we're smashing the gear all those years and, you know, whatever. I said, there's going to be after effects that, you know, that really you shouldn't have to suffer with. So that's, anyway, so like I said, we'll revisit that in a future time and hopefully we'll have some data that will really help people.
Nice. Yeah. So look forward to that, guys. That's coming up in a few weeks at some point. And that's it. We're going to wrap up the MD Power Hour. We thank you for watching. Check out MD Global Muscle, Buff Bombshell on this channel, as well as all the other programs we have. Ask Dr. Testosterone and so forth. Great shows we have here. And of course, Saturday, Orlando Pro, we will be doing wrap-ups after the judging and the finals. So please join us here. We're doing those live right here on the YouTube channel. So thank you so much, Giles Tiger Thomas. Thank you all for watching. And we'll see you on the MD Power Hour right here next time. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.